following other breaking news on air travel in the busiest part of this country. NBC's Tom Costello covers aviation for us at NBC News. Boy, Tom, ground stop at some of the nation's biggest airports. What's up?
Well, yeah, we're talking about New York LaGuardia, and specifically the reasons are for air traffic control staffing. Specifically, I'm just going to have to read off the computers and off my email right now. But the FAA now reporting that there is a traffic management program in effect at LaGuardia, causing some arriving flights to be delayed an average of 41 minutes. That's arriving flights delayed an average of 41 minutes, they say. By the way, general aviation aircraft also experiencing delays. And here is the reason from the FAA. Quote, we have experienced a slight increase in sick leave at 2 air traffic control facilities affecting New York and Florida, and with severe storms. We will adjust operations to a safe rate to match available controller resources. We have mitigated the impact by augmenting staffing, rerouting traffic. That's going to be a key term, rerouting traffic. We believe some of that will not be going out over the ocean, and increasing spacing between aircraft as needed. Results have been minimal impacts to efficiency so far while maintaining consistent levels of safety. The context here, you may recall, today is now the second missed federal paycheck, and air traffic controllers, 10,500 of them, just yesterday, their union warned the controllers were not only working their typical 10-hour, 6-day-a-week job. Can I emphasize that again? Controllers already work 10 hours, 6 days a week before the shutdown. And now, according to the union, they are worried about how are they going to pay the rent, the mortgage, the kids' braces, college tuition, you name it, every single item we've discussed for weeks now. And so some controllers are taking second jobs, driving Uber cars, some of them waiting tables after their 10-hour shift. And then they're supposed to show back up to work the next morning and work for free, at least work for a deferred paycheck. And so all along, the warning has been some controllers may not be able to handle that kind of stress. And you really want a controller in the tower or at a TRACON facility distracted and distressed. And some of them may simply decide they can't afford to do this anymore. Uber's going to pay them, and the FAA may not, at least not immediately. And so we now may be seeing the first signs of how this is rippling across air traffic control. Up until now, the FAA has said we have not seen an increase in call-outs at control towers. But at this hour, there seems to be an issue specifically affecting LaGuardia with delays for arriving traffic.
And Tom, I got a couple of questions for you here. Was this, based on your reporting or what you know of this, a coordinated call out? Do you know? Is this just coincidence that it's happening today on the day when these folks are missing their second paycheck?
We do not know whether this is in any way coordinated. We need to find that out if we can get a straight answer. But I will tell you that up until now, the unions for the air traffic controllers and the TSA have urged their employees, their union members, do not strike because they risk getting fired and they risk putting their own pensions, in some cases could be decades worth of a pension, at risk. And so up until now, that's been the official line.
Give me the consumer perspective here, if you will. If you got to fly somewhere today and you're flying in or out of New York or in the region, what's the advice?
Yeah, listen, I think that my own opinion is we could be starting to see the tipping point here where if it's not coordinated, we have no reason to believe it is, but some controllers may be saying, I have to find something else that pays my bills immediately. And as a result, this may increase around the country. You know, we have about a 7.5% call-out rate for the TSA every day. That's resulted in some TSA checkpoints being shut down at various airports nationwide. That's expected to increase the longer that this goes on. And we've had now the CEOs of the major airlines in this country, American, Delta, JetBlue, Southwest, all saying this is costing them business and it's hurting the economy. And in the words of Doug Parker, the CEO at American Airlines, this is no way to run a country.
Thank you for checking out our YouTube channel. Why don't you subscribe? It's really easy. Just click on that button down there. And for more news from MSNBC, click on any of these videos here for the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more videos from MSNBC with our newsletters. Head over to msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up.